question says, with regards to getting married while in the state of ihram, and not just in Hajj. Because you're there, you could be on Hajj without being in the what? Ihram. That's totally different. So, getting married with regards to being in ihram, does that include setting up something for after Hajj? Tayyip. The ulama of Islam, they say any marital contract is unlawful to do. Doing it, having it done for you, doing it for someone else, etc. Number two, second point is they say a person thinking about the opposite sex and thinking about intimacy and things like this, al-jima' wa muqaddimatuhu, rafath and fusuq, it says included in that. It doesn't mean that if you're on a Hajj with a brother and you're in a state of ihram and you know that the brother has a daughter who's looking to get married and he knows that you're looking to get married, and the brother, he says, listen, after Hajj or when we finish, after Mina, stick around for a second. I want to introduce you to some of my family. Or I want to talk to you after we finish, inshallah ta'ala. Or even if a person said, I heard that you're looking to get married. That is not making the contract, nor is that talking about anything illicit or lewd. It's not talking about, oh, she's pretty, she's this and that, nothing like that. So, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, hopefully there's nothing wrong with that, inshallah. But a person should try his or her best to avoid anything that's going to divert his attention and concentration and focus from the Hajj. But obviously, in most cases, when you make a Hajj with someone, you're going to be with them for some time. And in most cases, you're going to be with them before and after you're in a state of what? Ihram. So we're traveling together, we're on a bus, and I say, hey, would you like to, get to know my daughter? Or you ask me, with respect, nothing wrong with that. Sheikh Mufti, I would like to, ask for, your daughter's hand in marriage. As long as it's not in ihram, or even in ihram, if you set it up, as long as it's done properly. And Allah knows best. Any other questions? Todo.
What's the meaning of a woman or man wearing like tight clothing around their spouse?
Question on a man or woman wearing tight clothes in front of his or her spouse. Tayyip. First and foremost is the ruling on wearing tight clothes. A person is either going to say that it's haram unconditionally or it's only haram conditionally. Meaning, women are not allowed to wear tight pants in front of non-mahram men or even in front of mahram men. Pay attention. Some may say that if she has on tight pants or tight skirt, and that's another thing, for the argument of those who say that pants are permissible, because the skirt could also be what? Tight. A dress could be tight. Everybody understand? It's just revealing, and it could be more revealing than certain types of pants. So they say even if she's in front of her brother or her father or her son or her uncle or her stepson, she is not to wear anything which is unbefitting. Everybody clear on this or not? So if you say that it's permissible to wear tight clothes unless it's in front of an inappropriate person, then it's permissible to wear it in front of the spouse. That's for a woman. As far as a man, if you say that a man can wear certain types and certain articles of clothing which are tight but are manly, and they're not clothing or not articles of clothing of homosexuals or feminine men, la bas, in front of your wife. As far as if you say men are not to wear tight clothes, period, then it's also going to be what? Haram in front of your wife. But as long as the article of clothing is actually permissible, it's not a means of imitating women or imitating homosexual men, feminine men, even if he's not a homosexual. Because in Islam, a man who's feminine is cursed. A man who is feminine is cursed. And what's meant by feminine is someone who behaves in that manner. As far as if a person was born like that, certain brothers are tougher than others. And you find certain men are they may be soft-spoken, or the way they dress, or we said manicure and pedicure, they may just be like that naturally. And they're not homosexuals. And we explained this in the Easter offensive in the khutbah in Philadelphia. The ulama of Islam said that a man is to push himself and strive to learn how to be a man. And how to conduct and behave like a what? Like a man. This is what the ulama said hundreds of years ago. Not the shayateen of today, who say that there's nothing wrong with being a homosexual in Islam. Who say that it's permissible to be gay in Islam. And there's no proof in the Quran or the Sunnah to say that you can't be a homosexual in Islam. There's nothing wrong with loving a man and being with a man. As long as you're not caught, as long as you're not in an Islamic state. These people are shayateen who talk like that. And they're ignorant of the deen of al-Islam. They're ignorant of the Quran and they're ignorant of the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Allah never ever mentions two males or two females. Allah also says Zawjain, al-dhakar wal-untha, male and female. He never mentions two women and two males. Evident. It's unnatural. And if a person was made like that, hypothetically speaking, the inclination towards men, it is upon him to make jihad on himself not to like men. It is upon him to fight himself not to fall into his nature, and to do what is necessary with regards to him being attracted to the opposite sex. Everyone understand this? There was a fatwa once by a scholar who visited the United States. I won't mention his name. I'm not saying this is an absolute fatwa, but to show you the extent of this concept. He said that there's a homosexual who accepted Islam. He's a Muslim. He wants to be a Muslim. But he still has the taste for men. Waliyadu billah. What is he to do? He has to get married, so on and so forth. You know what the Sheikh said? He says he can be a Muslim. He should be a Muslim. He says, and he should watch pornography of women. He told him to watch porn in order to desire a what? An appetite for the opposite sex. To show you the extent of the concept. Nah, I'm not saying this is what I said or my view. I'm just trying to show you the what? The extent of the concept is that you cannot just go with, I'm naturally girly. Let alone if a person is actual homosexual that likes men. But as we said, some men, they may have certain traits of a what? A woman. My father wasn't there. My mother raised me. I had 3, 4, 5 sisters. I was raised in a house full of women. It is upon you now to behave and to pretend to be like a what? Like a man. Go against your nature. Just like a coward who goes to jail. Or a coward who lives in a really tough place. It's upon him to do what? He has to act what? Tough. To prevent something happening to him. Even though he's not what? Not tough, he's a powder puff, as they say. Drugstore cotton, he's soft. But it's upon him to do what? He has to, because there's no option in this situation right now. If not, he's going to get terrorized. Everybody understand this? And anyone who's ever lived in a difficult situation or a difficult place, he knows that prevention is the best way. Prevent the fight before what? It happens. How you walk, how you look, how you talk. Prevent someone from testing you out. Because people are going to test you out. 10 people. So if I act tough and walk tough, perhaps only what? 3 people will come after me. Would you like 10 people attacking you or what? 3. Everyone understand this? So therefore, if it's permissible to wear tight clothes for a man, whatever article of clothing it is, it's permissible to wear it in front of your wife. Bidnillahi subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we know that there are certain things which will normally be haram, or not even normally be haram, be disliked, or sometimes haram, that's permissible to do with and in front of what? One's spouse. Last but not least is the importance of understanding is that Islam encourages us to regulate and to moderate our sexual desires and to fulfill them in a permissible manner. With that being said, when it comes to your wife, it is your job to do whatever you can to please her, to stimulate her, and vice versa, as long as it's not haram. Outside, you can't wear this, you can't say this, you can't do this. Everyone understand this? You can't have a girlfriend, you can't watch this, you can't enjoy these haram acts. So you have to take as much as you can in the what? In the halal. Everybody clear on this? Like suhoor, right? People, they eat a lot of suhoor because they know what? In a couple of hours, there's no food. Everyone understand this concept? Eating is down haram. So a person who does what? He eats a lot. And this is a mentality of those only, you can only understand it for those who actually fast. When you're fasting in the summertime, you drink a lot of what? Is this not the case? You make sure for suhoor you do what? You drink a lot of water because you're going to be thirsty and your body's going to sweat. You're going to need that hydration. If you weren't fasting, you wouldn't be drinking this much water early in the morning. Am I making this up? You wouldn't be drinking this much water in the morning. But water is going to be haram in a couple of hours, so you enjoy as much as it. Why? It's still what? Halal. So this is a very important concept of the halal and the haram in Islam and the rulings of sexuality in Islam. And there's no shyness when it comes to learning the deen. This is your wife, this is your husband. You're lawful for her, she's lawful for you. Outside of the house, it's unlawful, it's haram. So do whatever is permissible with the purpose of you remaining chaste. And there are many people who don't like to talk about these things. Obviously, we're not going to say more because we have young children here in the masjid now. Many people that say, oh, you can't say that. No, that's not right. These people, oftentimes, their culture is more important than the sunnah. Their culture is more important than the sunnah, and oftentimes they are not fulfilling their obligations for their wives or vice versa. And you do not live in a Muslim country. We're not in a third world country. This is what? South Ozone Park, Jamaica, Queens. It's haram everywhere. You have to be mindful of this. Oh, my son, he doesn't need to get married now, and he's fine. He's going to school, he's going to college every day with kuffar. It'll be okay. He finishes his degree. Inshallah, he gets a job, he buys a house, he gets a car, he does this, he has all this money. He's 25, 30 years old, then he'll get married. This is the mentality of many Muslim fathers today, if not most of them, many of them at least. And they don't have a what? A clue of what's going on in the world of their son or their daughter. Music, videos, sports, everything in the culture is surrounded around what? Your desires. And you're going to say that you're going to wait 10 more years until you get married. You're 19 now. So we have to be mindful of these things. And Allah knows best.